Welcome to the LZ Sports Show. I am one of your hosts, Mark Adam, and I am joined by my trusty co-host, Mr. Keith McKnight, all the way from his home, socially distanced, of course, as always. Stay safe out there, Winnipeg. How are you doing today, Keith?
I'm well, Mark. How are you doing today?
Doing all right. Just happy the Jets won last night. They did it in their typical let somebody kind of get up on you, and then I don't know. They scored first, which I thought, hey, great sign, scoring first in the first minute of the game, but then it was a wild one from there, and we're going to get right into that after we hear a word from our sponsor. We'll be right back after that.
Make your house a better place to come home to with Aquatech Pool, Spa, and Bath. We've been delivering complete customer satisfaction for over 40 years. Whether it's a fully completed backyard escape, a completely renovated bathroom, or a premium upgrade on outdoor furniture, Aquatech is the only name you need to know. That's because if it's an Aquatech job, it's an Aquatech team working on it. No outsourcing, no subcontractors. We do it all. Visit our one-of-a-kind showroom today at 1065 Dugald Road. Aquatech Pool, Spa, and Bath. We create better places to come home to.
Well, thank you very much to Aquatech Pool, Spa, and Bath. We really appreciate our sponsors, of course. And you too can support us just by going to our social medias. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Do like and subscribe. It really helps us. All the stuff that you're supposed to say on YouTube, have we got it all out of the way? Can we jump right into the stats now? Let's look at last night's game. All right, run us through this, Mr. McKnight.
So there we go with the score 4-3, and you see the shots there. Quite, both teams were on top of each other on the offensive side. Winning face-off percentage, the Jets taking that one, and even though Brendan Gallagher had that one goal off of that one face-off, you would have thought that Montreal would have maybe took it a little bit more of the face-off category there, but fortunately for the Jets, they're the ones to prevail there. And you see both of these teams going over 2 on the power play. So both of their special teams clearly were on top of, not letting their goalie, depending on their goalies. You used that term with me before. It's like, yeah, you can't depend on your goalie too much. And the Jets just dominated. I wouldn't say just dominated, but, they took to the physical game by, as you see, 10 more hits there. So that's probably one of the reasons you saw this game go into overtime, because the Jets, they really stayed on top of this Montreal team and were able to, like I said, get this game in overtime. And you don't do that without, so you don't will yourself to an overtime win without some sort of physicality in the game.
I would agree, and I also think there's some stats that are copy paste bad, and there's some that are copy paste good. And when I say that, what I mean is like the previous game, stats that are good, you want to see those in the same category again. 33 hits for the Jets this game. The previous game, 33 hits for the Jets. Consistency. You like seeing that. This time, they gave up a lot of shots. 36 shots is a lot to give away to a team like Montreal, who are fast and skilled. I thought Hellebuck did a hell of a job keeping the puck out of that net. So, looking at these stats, getting outshot, I mean, Jets fans have to be used to seeing that stat this year. The thing is, and we talked about it before, it's the quality of chances. And Winnipeg, when they have a shot, it's generally a higher percentage shot than what other teams are attempting. So, I mean, by the percentages, face-offs winning, that's a marginal thing at this point. They rarely win in the face-off circles, so you never expect that. I thought their resiliency was real good. I thought they played very, very hard throughout the whole game. They had the goals that Montreal scored, they earned. That's a big difference from a couple of games ago where they sort of gave away every goal that they possibly could. Neil Pionk's sort of looking over his shoulder, firing it straight up the middle of his own zone deal. What were you thinking there, man? And so that kind of thing they avoided last night, and they end up with a victory instead of being on the wrong end of the scoreline. So I thought overall the Jets played very well. And was there a player for you that stuck out?
I'm going to go with Nikolaj Ehlers today. I think he's really He's really stepping out of Liney's shadow, as you say. And it's really starting to blossom here now for himself. And he's really coming into his own. Not that he wasn't a good player before, but it's just showing now that what he can really do. And he doesn't really he's not holding back. You know what I mean? The only way I can really go with that is like he stepped out of that shadow, like a big deal. But it's not like I wouldn't say so much like, I think like maybe he just wasn't able to when Laine was here. Like he just wasn't able to because like of the presence of Laine. You know what I mean?
I hear you, and I also want to point out Scott Billick of the Winnipeg Sun wrote an article that you should go check out. Speaking of Mr. Ehlers, he wrote it. It's called the headline. I'll read: "Criminally underrated Jets Ehlers has quietly grown into an NHL powerhouse." And I think that that's a great headline. Go have a look at that on the Winnipeg Sun. It's a 4-minute read, and I mean, he really has turned into the guy, you know. So
yeah.
I'm excited that he is playing at the level he's playing, and you can't argue with your choice there. But just to be different, I will pick somebody else who had a wonderful game last night and has been for a number of games in a row, Mr. KFC, as the Redditors, the Winnipeg fans on Reddit call him, Kyle effin Connor. He is an all-star player, in my opinion. His second multi-goal game in a row. They didn't get the win in the first one he got there, but he also played two-way hockey last night. He played both ends of the ice, and he has this, when he has the puck, he has this calmness about him. Even in crazy, chaotic moments, he just has this way of slowing the puck down, making the play bend to his will, and I'm always impressed when I see him. And he nearly had a hat trick again tonight. He almost had a hat trick in both games. Was denied by Price the first time, and then he had another really good opportunity set up by Nikolaj Ehlers last night, and unfortunately, Carey Price was there again. Carey Price is in pretty good form, so I'm pretty impressed by the way that he's sort of bounced back after that really rough slump he went through, and I thought, Kyle Connor, Nikolaj Ehlers, pick a player last night. They all played pretty well, I would say. And it was nice to see Blake Wheeler score a nice 5-on-5 goal. You want to see that from your captain. And he opened the scoring too, less than a minute into the game. Very important. I really like that.
Yeah, I was happy to see him really execute that goal for himself. And it really gets the team going. And it's nice when the captain can have some success like that. It really sets the tone early where it makes the other guys think, all right, look, our leader just did this up for us. Now let's go out there and support him and stand right behind him. And that's what they did. They opened the scoring, like they started it, and the Jets finished it. So,
yeah, and that's now. Before we talk about the coaching decision and the overtime and all that, do you think allowing late goals is a thing that that needs to be addressed? Like, how do you fix that? Because the Jets, that seems to be their big weakness, is those last 3 minutes of every game. Like if they're up a goal or two, they are just, the game is never over. Whether they're down 2 goals or up 2 goals, the last 2 minutes, 3 minutes of the period of the game, rather, of regulation, absolute chaos almost every time. How do the Jets keep putting themselves in that position, and what can they do about it?
Yeah, you keep saying that, their backs are against the wall. They like playing like that. That's not a way to continue to play hockey, because that's what happened there yesterday. They had, I don't know, like the game is never over with them. It's true. And a couple of years ago, we discussed this about their play a couple of years ago, picking up penalties in the final few minutes, and they need to stay away from that. And they really, really need to stay away. They need to just close these games out. And I think that they need to put these teams away a little bit sooner. Like those last 2-3 minutes shouldn't be this, okay, we're on our heels here, we're on our toes, we're back and forth. No. Like the Jets should be putting these teams away before that 3-minute mark. So that way they're just a little bit more in control, and then they can just keep that control to the end of the game.
Yeah, it's chaos every time they take the ice, it seems. And the penalties they've really worked on. 4 minutes in penalties for either side. Another really low number. Both teams going 0 for 2. All the goals came on 5-on-5 in the regulation, and then obviously 3-on-3 in overtime. Speaking of the overtime, do you think that Paul Maurice heard us when we were talking about playing Wheeler, Stastny, and Scheifele on the overtime instead of putting at least one speedy guy out there in Nikolaj Ehlers, Kyle Connor, those deadly hands, and then he ended up playing the Dubois line instead. Boom, that's a win instead of a loss. And do you think Paul Maurice heard us, or do you think that they came upon that decision all on their own? I would think that they did. I'm just being a little silly.
No, I'll give you the backstory on that. What had happened was, I'll just let the fans know, the stick in my hands is not the stick that Nikolaj Ehlers used to score the game-winning goal yesterday. But I'll tell you what had happened was last night. They didn't hear it from us. Somebody was watching our show from Winnipeg, and I swear it must have been like a media individual. And then when they had the press conference with Paul Maurice, they were like, oh, do you think they should do this? And then they credited themselves instead of crediting you and our show. And then Paul was like, oh, let's just try this. Let's think about it. And then boom, lo and behold. So that's exactly what happened. I just let the fans know about that one. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Fair enough. I like the pun there started with the stick and you're sticking to it. I like it. All right. Just a reminder to our fans, though, you can call us and give us your opinions. Call the WPG Sports Line, 431-800-4555. Give us a call, leave us a message. We can use those messages on future shows. We do want to hear what your opinion is. Get at us, and we're going to keep telling you this until we have some folks joining us on here. It's hard when you're starting a brand new show to sort of get some traction, and the disappearance of a radio station that shall go unnamed leaves a lot of wide open space for sports content. And I really am excited about the future of, sports content in Winnipeg, because all of a sudden, the Illegal Curve guys never missed a beat. They just switched over to YouTube and off they go. You got Hustler and Remus doing the Winnipeg Sports Talk, and you got us here in the LZ. We didn't even know we were replacing anything because we started before that whole thing went down. But we're glad to be here, and we're fans talking sports, and we want to talk with other fans. So get at us, people. Get at us. So Ehlers, the OT hero. Is anybody shocked? I'm going to go with no. The Dubois line getting it done in overtime. I love the way that they play the game, and my argument still is that a Dubois Cop Ehlers line would be your top line. I still think the Connor Dubois Ehlers line is the top line for the Jets. I think on paper only, Wheeler, Scheifele, Stastny is the number one line, but I really think that I feel free to tell me I'm wrong. Call the number on the screen there, or drop a comment or whatever you want to do. When I post these on Reddit, you can comment on Reddit if you're a Redditor. And I want to hear what you think. Whether you think I'm right, whether you think I'm wrong, whether you think Narv needs to cut his hair, whatever you think, let us know. We want to hear that. So, real quick, divisional games: Vancouver 3, Ottawa 2 in a shootout. So you got in football they have all the bowl games.
Yes.
Well, if you're looking at the hockey games last night in terms of bowl games, that game would be the toilet bowl. Two teams that are very struggling. They're struggling really hard. They're having a really hard time, and they could barely escape each other. So Vancouver just edging out Ottawa in the shootout there. Edmonton absolutely laid the smackdown on Calgary last night, 7-3. That was a rough one. Do go watch the highlights of that game, if only to see Draisaitl's pass. there was a play where he sort of cut across. He was the late man in, the fourth man into the zone. Pass comes across, and he just sort of taps it without looking between his legs to a wide open guy on the wing. Goal. Like, just go watch the highlight for that alone. Draisaitl is an unreal player. Connor McDavid kind of overshadows him a little bit, but I think that Draisaitl is every bit the player that McDavid is. He's just insane what he does with the puck and his awareness and his vision on the ice. It's insane. So that happened, and then obviously we already know what happened with Winnipeg, Montreal, Toronto being the only team with the night off. And so, Kyle Connor, love seeing his 2 goals. Nikolaj Ehlers, a multi-point night as well. Wheeler Dubois with 3 assists on the 4 goals. One of those assists coming in the overtime period. Stastny getting one. And there was a couple more Winnipeg Jets that lended hands. Those were on the blue line. So you had Derek Forbort and Morrissey pitching in there. Not a single defenseman for the Montreal Canadiens managed a point last night. Every single point coming from the forwards. Gallagher and Deneau each having a multi-point night. Toffoli got the other goal. Tatar Drouin and Corey Perry were the 3 other players with assists. And again, not one defenseman with a point on the night. Shea Weber with +1, Romanov -1, and you know that Nikolaj Ehlers is looking at his number 7 counterpart in Romanov thinking, good. No points, -1, screw you. So
I'm kidding.
Happy times for the Jets last night. Always nice to see them winning. Great record, 18-9-2. Speaking of records, let's have a quick look at the stats in the top 10 of the league. Vegas on top. Ignore those numbers on the left. I didn't change those because we're real professional here. So Vegas actually, if you look at the numbers, sits 5th in the league by points, but we don't care about those, so you just ignore those numbers. This is the order of things if you're going by points percentage. And you got some, you call the cops on yourself there, guy? You got some sirens in the background?
Why? No comment there, eh?
That's what the shades are for, eh? I'm incognito. Right on. Yeah, Tampa Bay still doing really well. I'm impressed by Vegas. Not only are they up there, but they're on a 4-game winning streak, 8-2-0 in their last 10. The Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Islanders both finally broke their monstrous winning streaks. I believe Carolina's was snapped at 9 games, and they lost to Detroit of all teams. And the Islanders' 8-game winning streak was snapped by Washington the last game. So Washington now on a 6-game winning streak, which is pretty impressive in and of itself. Minnesota still on a 5-game winning streak. Colorado surging into the top 10 with their 4-game winning streak. And Winnipeg clinging to the top 10 with their win last night against the Montreal Canadiens. So, how do the Winnipeg Jets look when it comes to the playoffs? Well, they are sitting still technically 2nd in the division, and I think their odds of going to the playoffs are very good.
Very good.
And I think they're if they finish 2nd, they get a pretty good draw in there too. So I don't think it matters who the Jets play in the first round of the playoffs. They're going to be hungry. They're going to win. It doesn't even matter how that stacks up at this point if they continue playing hockey the way they are right now. However, we have seen, look at Toronto, for example. 2 weeks ago, Toronto was the talk of the town and the best team in the league, no matter how you slice the deck. And now they're 7th by points, 8th by points percentage, and they're on a 2-game losing streak. They're 5-5-0 in their last 10. Not great statistics for a team that that really looked like it might actually be their year this year. But that's sort of Toronto's MO. Give their fans hope, take it away. Give their fans hope, take it away. Sounds familiar. Yeah. Sounds familiar to Winnipeg fans too, I think. So there's also that.
They got to keep going that way.
Absolutely. So next game is March 18th against Edmonton. That's today. It's today. So we're headed off to Edmonton to play tonight. Edmonton also on a back-to-back after playing Calgary last night. So it's two teams that are going to just try and find some fresh legs. You have to think Brossoit starts tonight for the Jets since Hellebuck played last night. And we can talk about that too. Playing Brossoit last night might have made sense if you wanted to play Hellebuck against a very strong Edmonton Oilers club, because between Montreal and Edmonton to me is the threat, and they looked really good in last night's 7-3 destruction of Calgary. And Calgary is a pretty similar team to Winnipeg in how they play and their style and stuff. But we'll see what happens tonight. Let us know what you think's going to go down. Give us a call again on the WPG Sports line. Find that 431-800-4555. Give us a call. Give us your opinions. Real quick, just switching sports for half a second. Valour FC, they're still at the CPL trying to come up with some sort of plan to start. They're looking at May Long as their ideal start. Yeah, you got the towel there, sir. So, looking for a May Long start, and I'm really hopeful that they do. I'm a season ticket holder myself, I would really like to see that happen, and I think the city really needs something else to rally around. I think people are getting very tired of just the Jets. Not that they're tired of the Jets, but people like variety in their life. The Bombers may not be back. 2022 season may be canceled because of this crazy partnership that they've got going on with the XFL. Absolutely insane. I don't know what the details are on that. We keep trying to figure it out. The statements that both the XFL and the CFL keep putting out are not detailed. So they're a little more on the vague side. So everyone's just trying to struggle to figure out what's going on there behind all those closed doors. But again, for Bombers and Valour FC fan, good news. The beer contract has changed, and who it changed to isn't as important as what it opens up, which is the possibility, and this is still rumors technically, but the possibility of getting other craft beers, local craft beers, into the stadium, which is great because you want local people to support local things. You have to make local things available. And up till now, it's been a monopoly by the macro brew. And I don't want to name names because I don't want anybody to sue me. But that needed to change. Local beers have a place, and the macro breweries need to allow a little space. Otherwise, it looks bad on them. Anyway, I'm just excited that craft beer is going to be available. And because the WPG is all about supporting local, so WPG Sports follows that mandate as well. As local as we can possibly get, we will get. So that's pretty cool. And was there anything else you wanted to add before we sign off today on our slightly shorter than normal episode, Mr. McKnight?
I'm not really, other than this back-to-back. I think a lot of people, because the game yesterday was so hyped up that I think a lot of people tended to forget that tonight's also a game. So hopefully, I kind of forgot it was. If you didn't remind me, I was like, oh shoot, we play tonight. So yeah. I was like, now I'm on the edge of my seat again. It's going to be a good game tonight. They're going up against some stiff competition, and especially like you said, Edmonton with that destruction of a win. I love how you use that word there, 7-3. So they're going to be riding a really good high for themselves, and the Jets coming off a win too. So I don't know if both teams are on a win streak though, but two winning teams, someone's going to lose tonight, so it's going to be good. Yeah,
and that's a good point because Edmonton is on a winning streak of 1. Winnipeg on a winning streak of 1. Both of them would like to make that more than 1 because multiple is better than not multiple in that category. So I think it's going to be a good clash. I think the Edmonton Oilers have the edge. They played last night in Alberta. Their travel time was not the same as Winnipeg's. Winnipeg has to change time zones, and then it's a late game. So I think is it an 8 o'clock start here in town for that game?
I think so. Yeah.
I'm just going to click on that and have a quick peek. Yeah, 8 o'clock start for us here. So I think if we can Yeah, if they just stay calm, have a nice easy skate when they get there, get their legs out from under that little flight they have. Because I don't know about you, but when I get on a plane, I immediately just want to go to sleep. I don't care how long the flight is. If it's an hour and a half, I just the hum of it just makes me very sleepy. And
yeah, no, if they're sleeping on a plane, yeah.
Yeah, that's so. Anyway, hopefully the Jets are professionals. They do this all the time. So here's hoping that travel isn't the disadvantage that I think it is. We will see you in the LZ tomorrow for WPG Sports. I am Mark Adam. This is Keith McKnight over here, and we want to thank our sponsor again, Aquatech Pool Spa and Bath. Very, very happy to have them on board. And just so you know, if you would like to sponsor, if you're around, you know, if you have the means and you have the desire, we would love to have you, even if it's just on the website, that's fine too, on the WPG.ca. Do check us out. The home of our sports is the WPG.ca/sports. Find us there. Email ads at the WPG.ca to get your advertisements on there, or you can give us a call, 431-489-2401. And again, follow us on all the social medias. We would really like to see you follow us, talk to us, let us know what you think. And as usual, the WPG Sports Line is there for you if you want to voice your opinions and have those voice recordings potentially play back on a future episode of the LZ Sports Show. So thank you very much. We will see you next time in the LZ.